In Pennsylvania, there's a law that assigns a child to a school based on 5 numbers. Not an SAT score, not your monthly income, not IQ. So what is the number sequence? The code that can be the difference in a child's success or failure in school? It's a zip code. But many states like Pennsylvania have provided school alternatives called charter schools that give at least some options for students in the form of public charter schools. But getting into one of these schools is not a guarantee that you'll do well. And that's where tonight's conversation is going, to the distressed school district and a church that's helping kids on the path to success. I know you'll be challenged, so stay with us. Pastor Joshua Robertson is a pastor in the Harrisburg's Allison Hill district, a community challenged in so many ways by what's plagued far too many American cities. But the Hill, as it's called, is also home to ministries we've introduced you to in previous shows like Love the Hill, Bethesda Mission, and of course, The Rock Church. You've met this man before when he shared his testimony, but now he and his church want to do more. And they are. Watch this.
The Rock City Learning Center is a non-traditional space for our children to come and to learn. The Rock City Learning Center is intended to curate an experience that is customizable for each kid. We really emphasize operating as a family and relating to one another, and the children have really bought into it. Parents should not be relegated to choose one school district because of their zip code. They should be able to choose where they want their children to go to school.
At my other school, there was a lot of kids there, and it was a lot of yelling and screaming and people throwing papers at them.
At my other school, there was a lot of drama and fighting, and here there is none of that here.
I think we have curated an experience here where children can feel safe.
It's a lot different because they're nice to me and they appreciate who I am, and that kind of actually makes me feel happy.
The learning guides at the Rock City Learning Center play an essential role to the development both academically and socially.
I enjoy working with the Rock City Learning Center because just seeing them grow and develop daily is just inspiring to see.
I think that my learning guide is helpful, and it's great to get that kind of personal attention.
The learning guides are from this neighborhood or neighborhoods like the Allison Hill community.
The one-on-one customized learning experience is a great experience, I believe. I know when I was younger, I would have benefited greatly from that, and just seeing that kids need that one-on-one experience.
Academically, the learning guides help the students to administrate their course load. They help the students with the fundamentals of reading, knowing how to do simple things like decode the directions and understand the content that is presented. I think it's vitally important that we expose our students to different things that are in the community. And they're going to be exposed to so much more than what they see on a daily basis. This is vital to their future. When children have a vision of what can be, they have a reason to discipline themselves and to work hard to accomplish goals because they've been exposed to more than what they see on the average. I think that the community has to do whatever we need to do in order to provide resources so that we can expose our children to more. If you're interested in the Rock City Learning Center, we'd be glad to give you a tour of the facility, explain to you what our programs are, and help you get involved right away. Contact us on our website at therockchurchhbg.com, or you can call us at 717-317-9165.
Pastor Joshua Robertson, great to have you on with us today. It was great to have you on before. So is Brooklyn Robertson related to you?
I think I know her. All 11 years of her life. Yes.
Yeah.
That's my daughter.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. What's it like for the other parents having kids at the school? I mean, I'm guessing this is a story that is played out all around the country, that for parents who might be stuck in a zip code where the schools are underperforming, they don't have a lot of choices. And so obviously the Learning Center is a great opportunity for parents. What's it like for the parents of school-age kids that attend the Learning Center?
Well, I think that the parents having options, to determine where they want their children to go to school is vitally important, because not every academic environment works for every kid. I was one of those kids who probably would have benefited greatly from a smaller space. So, a class with 20 to 30 children in it, that could be tough for some kids just as far as their attention span. So providing options, I think, is vitally important. If the goal is education, then yes, we kind of have to tailor those educational needs to the personality of the student, the development of the student, really centering education on the student and not the system.
Yeah, I know when you came and spoke before in our show, when we were face to face, you told a riveting story about your own experience. You're a guy that was an outstanding athlete in high school, and you had the opportunity to go you had college scholarships to play football. And but the reality was, even though you were a high school star and articulate, you didn't know how to read very well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I didn't. And because of that athletic prowess, no one really knew. It was just more, my life was more about athletics than it was about scholarship. But again, I am one that is, I just happened to make it out because of sports. How many other kids who are not, as athletically gifted, don't make it out, or who are athletically gifted but don't make it all the way to the pros? I didn't make it to the pros, and that was something that people were saying about me ever since I was 7, 8 years old, that I would play either professional basketball or football, and it didn't happen. So if we really want to uplift the people, we're going to have to do it through, I truly believe, first and foremost, our relationship with Jesus Christ. But our relationship with Jesus Christ must motivate us to uplift our community, and education is the way to do it.
Well, you're kind of an example of that, as I recall, because you came to the realization that you couldn't read that well, and you know what? You just took it upon yourself to say, I'm going to learn how to read. I'm going to actually get this done, so that I'm not walking around here with a degree and not able to read what the degree says. And you did that, which is really admirable. Just a great example to everybody around you. So your words are not empty when you say this. This is a great encouragement, I know, for parents in the Allison Hill district. Tell our viewers again a little bit about the district where you are, so that they get a better sense of what the demographics are of Allison Hill.
Sure. Allison Hill community is actually, I'm from here, so first and foremost, I love my community, and I love the equity in the Allison Hill community is the genius of the people. But a lot of time that genius is undiscovered and it's underdeveloped because the community is heavily under-resourced, and people just don't have opportunity, or people don't have the mentoring or the surrounding supporting community. And so the community, of course, is plagued by, drug use and violence and those things. And I'm hesitant to talk about those things because sometimes they're highlighted without highlighting the other piece, that there are people in our community that are pregnant with potential and purpose. And you see it when you live here, or when you work here, or go to church here. You really see these people who are in the community who could be contributing citizens. But the community needs resources. The community needs people that are love warriors that would inconvenience themselves in order to help to support and uplift other people. And so I am, of course, I have work to do. We have work to do in this community. It's a rough community. It is. I can't take away from that. But I believe that if Jesus got out of the grave and resurrected, that our community can be resurrected too. In fact, I think that that is the earthly expression of that resurrection. I don't mean to start preaching, but I believe, and that's why I'm here working and trying to do everything I can to uplift our community.
Yeah. So what things have to happen outside of school for these kids to have a chance? Because so you're blessed. You have happen to have parents that really care and that have had a strong interest and continue to have a strong interest in you as a human being. Everybody doesn't have that. And that's part of the challenge. What needs to happen for these kids to have a fighting chance to be able to finish high school maybe and go on to college or go into a career, a technical career?
Absolutely. So I think the church is vitally important. And I think churches, we need to start thinking about how churches can work together to empower and to equip members of our community. We need to think about how we can do more than have Sunday service and midweek Bible study, but how can we build our own schools? How can we, for instance, pool our money together and develop our own banking system or credit union or something like that? Or how can we pool our resources together and give the members of our churches healthcare? How can we empower each other by working together? I think the church is critical to the upward mobility of our community because, like you said, some people just don't have the type of household that I had, where I had mother and father there pushing me, prodding me, helping me, supporting me, praying for me. So for people who don't have that environment, I think the church has to fill that void, and not just one church on one corner, but one church communicating with another church that's communicating with another church and form alliances across denominational, I hate to say it, barriers. They should not be barriers, right? There's nothing wrong with distinction, but they should not be barriers. We have to figure out how we can work together as churches to do the mission of Christ, which I think fundamentally is the upward mobility of our community.
So this Rock City Learning Center is really kind of an expression of that, isn't it? I mean, it's not a school, but nonetheless, it's a place, it's a center where people can come to learn and to be encouraged and to be challenged and to grow.
Absolutely. The Rock City Learning Center essentially is homeschool at the church, right? We don't have educators here. We don't have tutors here. The learning guides are concerned Christians, people that love the Lord, go to the church, who just love people. And so you don't have to be Christian to go to the Learning Center, but the experience here is curated by Christians. And we are working together. God be praised. This coming fall, we're looking to open 5 more learning centers, which is going to take our capacity from, the 40 kids that we have here now to this fall, we'll be serving about 200 kids. And we have a model that is scalable and sustainable for churches that want to work together to do the same thing that we're doing. And that is we're not looking to bash the public school system or private schools. We're not looking to do none of that. We are looking to partner with whoever wants to partner about educating our children and creating pathways for them to be, contributors to our community.
Now, what's been your experience with parents being involved in this? You've got you're going to have 200 kids soon. In a perfect world, obviously there'd be parents for all those 200 kids equally involved with what you're doing. What's the reality? How many parents and what percentage would you say of parents are involved? And what would you like to see?
Well, that is an immense challenge there. In my opinion, parenting in the 21st century is in trouble. You don't have a lot of parents, and whether it's neglect or whether they're just too overwhelmed with the rising cost of housing and, transportation. Times are hard. So parental involvement is tough, but what we've been able to do, what I tell parents when they come to the Rock City Learning Center is, if I call you, it's because I need you. We try to surround them with people that are like parents to help them. So we try to send our kids home with no homework, because we know when they get home in the evening, we don't know what they're facing. A lot of our kids are facing, just tough things when they get home. And so we try to do our best, not to parent them, but to try to be like parents in a family while they're in our space. So the parental involvement is a challenge. But I think that goes back again to the church connecting to the community, the church being there for the community, and not just a place where people can clap their hands, sing their song, hear a good sermon and go home, but a meeting space where vision can be birthed and people can execute that vision to the glory of God.
It's nice for people to see the gospel of Christ in action, the loving your neighbors yourself part in action, which is what this is. And to realize that it's even bigger than just, like you said, being able to come to church on a Sunday and clap their hands and have a successful worship experience. The living, the daily following Christ part is the challenge for Christians everywhere, regardless of what their backgrounds are, or their ethnicity or their social status. But it is hard. I mean, it's how do you get across to parents that being a parent is more than just having a child? That's the definition. Somebody says, "Well, I'm a parent because I have a kid or I have two kids," and that's what a lot of people think parenting is. But it's so much more than that, especially if you love your kids and you want the best for them. You've got to be involved in their life, and you've got to take an interest in what they're doing, and you've got to have hope for them as well. I mean, my parents took a huge interest in my life from the time that I was born. They wanted to make sure I knew how to read before school started. They wanted to make sure that I would do well in school, that I would have better options than they had in terms of my career. And everything they did was to make that happen because they loved me so. And so it's a hard message. How do you get that across to, in your preaching to parents who may be in the pews and they may be nodding as you're saying this stuff, but then the nodding doesn't equal the actual action. You don't see them at the parent-teacher meeting, or they don't come to the learning center and actually say, "So what are you doing with my child? Let me see what my child is doing when they come here." I mean, so that's the challenge. How do you get to that? That's the hard part, I guess.
Sure. Well, I think that's a generational challenge, right? I don't think that that's something that is, I don't think that, it's almost like planting a tree, right? You plant the seeds, you work with the ground, you fertilize the ground, you water it, you expose it to sunlight, and then in its time, it grows. And I think the same thing, we plant the word of God, we provide an atmosphere of love and support. We till the ground by community service. We have the Greater Harrisburg Community Cleanup on the 22nd of this month. We have a town hall meeting that's coming this Saturday. We have a annual backpack giveaway. We have several expressions in the community that we're working. And I think that that's all tilling the ground so that people can see, wow, the church is doing more than just having services on a Sunday. The church is with us in the community. And then I think the success of these children, last year, when we ended the year, we had 30 students. 29 out of those 30 students came to us failing, not doing well. And when we ended the year, 10 out of those 30 finished above a 90%, 12 finished above 80%, 6 finished above a 70%, and only 2 finished above a 60%. And so watching the children's face with this success and watching the parents' reaction to it has been, amazing. So you start seeing glimpses of parents being more involved, parents starting to show up to the church, the children starting to get involved in our youth groups because they're having success. And that's what love does, right? That's what love really does. Love works. Love, for God so loved the world that he gave. What did he give? Everything. In sacrifice and submission unto the Father. And so we live that out in how we care for one another, how we love our neighbors, and how we inconvenience ourselves if it means the betterment of someone else.
Excellent. When we come back, I'll ask Pastor Robertson if he believes, as many do, that a city like Harrisburg, or part of Philadelphia for that matter, is too far gone. Or is there hope? Don't go away.
You're watching Joe Watkins' State of Independence on Lighthouse TV. Positively different. Share your comments about today's program in the comment box at joewatkins.org.
When this show is over, I want you to visit joewatkins.org and find our YouTube channel to hear our guest's testimony to grace in his life. It's a powerful story because God is so powerful. But today we're learning about Rock City Learning Centers that he and many supporters believe is the key to helping write a better story for Harrisburg children. Pastor, what needs to happen to turn a block or an entire city around, especially for kids?
I think that we can't lose hope. I think that we can't just read the bad press of the things that are happening. I think that we can't lose hope, and we can't place the responsibility of uplifting our children. We can't place that in the government's hand. We can't place that in the school's hand. I think we, the citizens of the community, the people of the community, and for me, the people of the church, has to look at it as our generational mission, and the way that we serve God is by we keep hope in this resurrection, that if he was raised from the dead, we can raise our community. So I think the first thing is just, keep hope alive, right? and I think that's just vitally important that we start there. And then secondly, I think it's being strategic with partnerships. Again, I know I said this earlier, but again, partnerships with churches, right? Like learning how we can be strategic and how we leverage each other's strengths.
And even across denominations, right? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Denominations should make us distinct. They shouldn't divide us, especially when it comes to the work, right? When it comes to the actual work that we're doing in the community, why can't we combine to have a greater impact?
Yeah, that's a great story. What a wonderful thing. It's so uplifting. I wish that we had more. We have you on today because this is such a great story, and we don't have as many examples of this happening as we'd like to have happen. But this is exactly what we want to hear, and it's an encouragement to us. I love the part about the fact that you're not looking at this in a selfish way. You're saying, hey, a lot of us can do this, and you've reached out to other pastors and said, come join us, do what we're doing. The work that the Lord has for us, many hands make light work. And yes. So you've encouraged other people to join you in it. And I think all that's excellent. What do you see if you had to project out 5 years from now or 10 years in a perfect world? What would you see?
Well, I see, as far as the Learning Center is concerned, in the next 5 years in Pennsylvania, we're going to have 1,000 students that are going to, because our model is simply this: it's homeschool at the church, right? These kids are enrolled in whatever public school that they are in, and the church is just a site that they can come to, a safe and supportive space that they can come to do their work. And so I look at it and say, within the next 5 years, we should have every bit of 1,000 students in every state where it's legal to have cyber charter school, or if the public schools develop some type of online curriculum that the kids can come to these spaces. How many churches do you know in central Pennsylvania or beyond, right? Or across this country that Monday through Friday, Sunday school rooms, right, sit empty that could have a learning pod in it of 8 to 10 kids with people from the community, Christians from the community, or Christians in the local church, that you offer them full-time employment to be able to, again, curate this space, supportive and space for our children. So the limits to this, there's none. There's churches all over the country that have a heart to do this. It's just a matter of, bringing the resources to it. And that's one thing that I'm excited to share, is that we have a model now that we can expand. It's scalable and it's sustainable through some of the partnerships that we have now. So churches, anyone who's listening right now can go to your pastor and say, hey, look into this, check this out. And we'd be more than willing to have a conversation, because this is a way that we can, really touch our community in a way that is, I think, generational in its impact.
Excellent. Well, Pastor Joshua Robertson, thank you. Thank you for coming back on State of Independence and for sharing the work that you and the members of Rock City Church have undertaken on Allison Hill. I hope it inspires many other good works in Harrisburg.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it and enjoy the conversation with you. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. We'll be right back with our great producer, Jeff Coleman.
Learn more about Joe Watkins and the mission of this program at joewatkins.net. And tell Joe what you thought about today's program in the comment box.
And now let's talk to our great producer, Jeff Coleman.
Pastor Robertson issues a challenge to, I think, every church, especially those in cities, to look around, take inventory of the serious problems, and then confront them. So imagine, I loved what he said about all of these churches who have built essentially buildings which are used one day a week, Sunday school buildings, and they're all everywhere. You look at these beautiful old churches, especially in cities and small towns, and they have this giant building next door that eats up a lot of heat and takes up a lot of resources to maintain. But imagine converting those into places where all of these children who are now in cyber schools and alone, isolated, not having community, and then inviting them to come in to do their work there, but with oversight, with help. I think it is a revolutionary idea, and I hope he gets those 1,000 students, because I don't know if I missed it, but the statistic that he's mentioned before is something like 80% of them are graduating and going on to big things in life. So a huge turnaround that Josh and his church at the Rock City Church have been engineering.
Yeah, it's a really great story. I mean, they're not just sitting on their hands here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, look around your neighborhood. Where's the need? What can you do about it? Not what can you do by yourself, but what could you do if God was in it? What would happen if you just said, yes, I'll love my neighbor as I love myself? Thanks to Pastor Joshua Robertson for today's good word. And thanks to all of you who send notes of encouragement to me at joewatkins.org. I share them with Jeff and the production team here at Lighthouse TV, and we'd love to hear from you. From America's First Capital, Philadelphia, I'm Joe Watkins, along with Jeff Coleman and the great Lighthouse team. Thanks so much for watching. God willing, I'll see you next week. They're doing great things.
And you're going to preach. You've got an invitation to preach those things. So. I'll be there that Sunday.
You'll be there. You're going to bring your pillow so you can sleep?
No, there won't be any sleeping. Joe Watkins' State of Independence is a production of Lighthouse TV, positively different. Made possible in part because of the support of viewers like you.